The APL story of a sweet 3-month-old Husky Hound mix named Javen started when he and 24 other homeless dogs and cats came to the Cleveland APL through our animal transfer program. Each year, the APL brings in more than 1,000 dogs, cats, and other animals from crowded and underserved shelters that don't want to euthanize animals to make space. When our friends from one of our partner organizations asked for help with 3 neglected puppies who had suffered serious wounds from embedded collars, we did not hesitate to take them. We knew we could give these adorable puppies the care they needed. The owners of Javen and his sisters Charisse and Rosalie had placed collars on them when they were little puppies. But as they grew, their collars were never changed or made bigger. Eventually, the small collars started to cut into their necks, causing deep, painful wounds that kept getting even deeper as the puppies continued to grow. The team at the shelter that originally took the puppies in had already removed the embedded collars before sending them to the APL. Now these poor puppies needed treatment for their wounds and lots of time to heal. Our veterinary team said that these were the worst cases of embedded collars they had seen on dogs so young. Although all 3 puppies had serious wounds from their embedded collars, Javen's wound was by far the worst. It was much deeper than his sister's, and he had lesions that were moist with yellow discharge, which meant he also had an infection. Unfortunately, all 3 were too small for the surgery that would help to speed along the healing process. So our talented veterinary team decided the best course of action was to monitor their wounds closely while they allowed them to heal naturally. The puppies were given pain medications, antibiotics, and ointment that would be applied in their foster homes. Now it was a waiting game. Javen went to the caring home of one of our most experienced foster volunteers. Once there, Javen received daily care for his infected wound, along with an extra dose of love to help his healing process. Javen returned to the APL frequently so our team could check his wound. As we had hoped, his sister's wounds healed well on their own, but Javen still needed additional treatment. Over the course of 5 weeks, Javen had to undergo 2 surgeries. The first was performed after his infection healed. His wound was partially repaired, and a drain was placed to help the healing process even more. During the second and final surgery, his wound was completely closed. Javen then went back to his foster family for continued post-op monitoring and care, and lots of love. Nearly 2 months after arriving at the APL, Javen was finally ready to begin his new life. His wound was healed, and he was ready to find a loving family to call his own.
Isabella really wanted a dog, and we were watching TV, and the WKYC Forget Me Not Telethon was on, and she said, "Can we go tonight and just look?" And of course we just looked, and there he was staring at us.
We were walking down the Roosevelt of the shelter, and it was super loud in there. A bunch of dogs were barking, but he was just this quiet, tiny little puppy in this big cage.
He was real quiet, and then when we went to the front desk to ask if we could see him, they told us his story, and I started crying before I ever met him. They said they couldn't believe he was still around because he had been on TV all day long and he'd been kind of a star. So we were lucky to get him. We have a pet rabbit. He licks the rabbit through the cage. He pulls hay out of the rabbit's cage and he eats it because he'll eat anything. Sit. Sit. Paw. Let me see paw. Let me see a paw. Good boy.
He's very smart. He when you're not giving him attention, if you're doing other stuff around the house, he'll watch you do it. He's trying to figure out what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Yes. He, after a walk, came in and laid down in front of one of our air conditioning vents on the floor because he was hot. And it was a vent that we have turned off. So I went over and pulled the switch up to open it more. And the next day he walked in and put his mouth on that switch and was trying to open it more because it doesn't stay open. I was like, uh-oh, we're in trouble. It's been a really good thing for Isabella because she really wanted it to be her dog. So she's the one who walks him and feeds him. We've always spent a lot of time outside, but it's made us be sure that we go out for a morning walk and we go out in the evening. So I think in that way it's kind of helped take some of the stress out of our lives too.
It's nice to be able to come home to him. He's just like the cuddliest little thing. He just like wants to lay down next to you on the couch.
We would just like to thank anyone who volunteered, helped him along the way. I don't know who makes the decision as far as who gets the second chances. When we were at the APL, everyone was fantastic. His foster family was great. I can't imagine a great dog like this not being saved. It would be such a shame. He's fantastic. He loves everyone. He's happy. He plays.
I can't imagine having another dog than him.
Thanks to your support for the Second Chance program, Javen's wound has healed. He received the second chance that he and every animal deserves. His uncertain journey as a severely injured puppy ended up leading him to the home where he always belonged. Today, all he knows is the love and kindness of a family that adores him. Isabella gave him a new name for his new life, Dustin. She and Nicole continue to keep in touch with Dustin's former foster mom so she can see how big he's gotten.